Good morning, everybody. Good morning, RGV. I'm Christopher. I'm the CEO, founder of WYCOTAX, an all-year-round, all-in-one local and outsourced tax payroll bookkeeping service company. This is a free Wednesday webinar. This is going to be regular, and today we will talk about regarding the Paycheck Protection Program. Just some house rules. Everybody that will be participating have the opportunity to chat, to type their questions on the chat box either on Zoom, but we are also on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Raymond will help me to monitor their questions on YouTube because I don't have access on YouTube. Just put it on the chat box. For Facebook Live, just type your questions and we will read all the questions at the end of the presentation. Just also, everybody will be placed on mute during the presentation and able to have a smooth flowing presentation. Then at the end of the presentation, we will give a chance to unmute. We will unmute everyone so you guys can ask questions. And I'm not the only one who's going to present. We have our subject matter expert, Juan Torrebiartes. You are already a co-host. You can unmute anytime you want.
Everybody, good morning.
Okay, so Juan Torrebiartes is our accountant. He graduated in business and accountancy in UTRGB, and he's a tax professional, an accountant, payroll and bookkeeping expert. As a matter of fact, he's been dealing with all these loans for the PPP, the SBA, the small business, the Express Bridge loan, and the small SBA. With that being said, it's 10:01. We will start so we can finish on time. So what you can see on the screen is one of our success stories and testimonials for our business clients here in the Valley. It's Sure Haven. They are on graphics, design, and uniforms. We were able to accomplish finish their application within 7 days, and the EIDL was granted after a few days. This is our performance progress report. We almost are in a process for $200,000 combined application. 93% were already approved, and we're still waiting for the 7%. Now, that is the first step, is applying for the PPP, and our second step would be applying for forgiveness until June 30, but there are some applicants that can process it before the end of June 30. Okay, so what we do in our company, since we are an all-year-round, all-in-one tax payroll bookkeeping service solution, we submit the necessary documents from tax returns, fill out the application for them, receive the email communication directly from bankers and SBA agents. That is a carbon copy. We also provide computations for other COVID-19 business relief that our clients are qualified. In other words, we will be working with you as your right hand to navigate with all these applications. This is what you call our COVID-19 relief packet, because we would like you to maximize the benefits that you can get at the time of the crisis. For those of you that are first time, we have this webinar and the past webinars that we had. If you would like to watch in terms of the other business relief from the COVID-19 paid leave, employee retention credit, the shared work program in Texas, just go to our channel on YouTube. It's WYCOTAX. Then you could watch all the replays or reruns of those information we provided that we covered for the past 2 months. Now, if in case that you don't have time to watch, you could actually download the COVID-19 relief summary by going on our website, wycotax.com. And if you have more questions right now, as in right now, after the webinar, just text your name and we will call you right there. And then for your specific questions on all your ongoing applications in an hour free consultation. For tomorrow, we have I will be joined by the Executive Director of San Benito Chamber of Commerce, Miss Megan. Miss Meg, we will talk about the guide to reopening your business. If you want some guidelines, just join us tomorrow. It's a Thursday live chat at 10 in the morning. And for next week, we will cover on our Wednesday webinar the latest news to the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan. As part of our service to the community, to the RGB, we are offering English and Spanish presentation. So right now at 10 in the morning, you will, this is an English presentation, but later, our accountant Juan Torrebiartes will be presenting on Spanish, 11 a.m. If you want to listen, you just stay with this Zoom. It has the same Zoom meeting for the Spanish. This is our YouTube channel, WYCOTAX. Just click subscribe and you will be notified for our latest videos regarding the COVID-19 relief and other tax topics. Our website here, go to wycotax.com and there's a free PDF right there. If you're still uncertain to your COVID-19 relief, we are welcome to check by checking your books and taxes and even your payroll reports if it's done correctly. Less than an hour. We will talk about and give you pointers and also the filling out the application for your PPP forgiveness. Just a disclaimer, this presentation, the material has been prepared for informational purposes only. It is not intended to provide and should not be relied on for tax, legal, or accounting advice. WYCOTAX is not associated with any institutions on this presentation, and it is a private business providing resources for small businesses. Our topic for today would be everything you need to know for the Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness. I would expect that all the participants here have been approved or have ongoing Paycheck Protection Program, and now you've been done with the application. What's next? Because our goal as a tax payroll bookkeeping service solution is not for you not to pay those loans if you know the guidelines. You don't want additional short-term or long-term liability, but what you want to do is to qualify for the forgiveness, which is 75% of work. It is not approval for the loan is only 25% of your benefit. 75% of your benefit for this loan to be a grant or forgiven will be on the paperworks. That will start on June 30. But like what I have said a while ago, there are some clients that we have can start as before the end of June 30. They can start processing depending on the time that the loan has been approved. Okay, these are the questions. Can PPP loans be forgiven? The answer is it really depends. The loan, but there are guidelines that have been implemented on the CARES Act bill or the Coronavirus Aid Relief Security Act bill that the loan should be used to cover payroll costs, mortgage, interest, rent, and utility costs over the 8-week period after the loan has been approved. And also it should be given or need for the employee and compensation levels are maintained. Is this correct, Juan?
Yes, that is correct. Right now, the percentage that the PPP should be used for, 75% of it has to be used to keep on paying your employees. By doing so, that is going to allow your loan to be 100% forgiven, as long as 75% is going to be used to pay your employees and the remaining 25 can be used to pay other utility expenses for the business. Now, you can use more than 75% to pay your employees, but that is at least the guidelines to use at least 75% to pay your employees.
That's correct. It didn't the on the code it didn't really says it didn't really says what are you going to do with the 25%. What they're telling on the legislation is at least 75% and up should go to your payroll. That is what it's stated, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, the next question. What are eligible payroll costs? The payroll costs including salary, wages, commissions, or tips capped at $100,000 for each employee, together with the employee benefits, health premiums and retirement benefits, vacation parental, family, medical or sick leave. It says here cap at $100,000 for each employee. What does it mean?
What it means there is that you can only pay an employee up to $100,000. You cannot pay them anything more than that. So if there's an employee that earns more than 100,000, the payroll expenses that are going to count is going to be up to 100,000 per employee. That's how the SBA is going to base this payroll cost.
As long as they have minimum max, the number of employees is 500 employees and less.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. On top, so 100,000, we're not talking about the benefits. If they have, let's say 100,000, and this is annual salary. So 100,000, and if they have additional benefits, that is on top of the cap.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Just want to make things clear with everyone that 100,000 is based on the salary. If they have fringe benefits, those are not included on the cap. Okay, what are non-eligible payroll costs? Which means to say this is where you will allocate the other remaining 25% that will be allowed for this to be forgiven. The 25% or less should be spent on the interest on mortgage incurred before February 15, the rent under lease agreement before February 15, utilities which service began before February 15. Because the loan duration is from February 15 to June 30, if you have an ongoing interest payment on mortgage, let's say you buy your building, the one that you're renting, there should be an ongoing mortgage payment already, okay? So let's say you started on January, then therefore from January, then you have to pay February 15, that interest mortgage is included, and also the rent under lease agreement before February 15. Take note, guys, it says here under lease agreement. It cannot be verbal. There should be a paper copy. You have to secure it to your landlord. So for example, in our case, we have a lease agreement on our printer because we are not buying a printer. We are leasing the printer for the past 2 years. So therefore, our monthly payment from February 15 moving forward until June 30, all those payment that we've been paying for our printers are all included for that loan, the 25%, okay? But the first things first, you need to secure, if you don't have any lease agreement to any of your rents, either your furnitures, your printers, all your equipment, you need to secure it now, okay? Because for us, we have been dealing with the IRS auditors for more than 5 years. We would rather have more documents to present to your lenders, okay, to the SBA rather than a half-baked documents. Agreements are needed to be there. At the same time, it's also important to your landlord. I know there are so many moms and pop shops here. They are friends with the landlords, and then they just have a verbal agreement. It's very important to tell them, hey, you know what? We need this enabled for our loan to be forgiven. Can I have the contract from you? Okay? Then utilities which service began before February 15. Next, how to apply for PPP loan forgiveness. Businesses can submit a request to have the loan forgiven with the lender servicing their loan. You are feel free to chat which bank you're working with. As we are working with Texas Regional Bank, right? Okay.
Yes.
We tried to apply the other company like Wells Fargo, and now, but Texas Regional Bank is really amazing and outstanding on their the processing application. It doesn't need to be on your bank. It could be from one bank. It could be not really related to your company's account. There are some listings, and if you want to know that listings, their SBA website provided that on our area here in Lower Rio Grande Valley. The request will need to include documentation to verify the number of full-time employees, pay rates, and payments on the mortgage, lease, and utilities. When we talked about documentation, there are only two rules on winning an audit for the IRS and to the state. Rule number one, document. Rule number two, don't forget rule number one. That is what I've been telling to our clients and to our audience. When we talked about, Christopher, what are documents for full-time employees? Number one, you need to have your 941 reports. 941 reports are the summary and dissection of the Social Security, Medicare, wages, employee-employer contribution that you've been submitting quarterly to the IRS and that you have been paying either bi-weekly. So the 941 is mandatory together with what? Their pay rates and payments. Where can you find the pay rates? Another one is what you call the contract, the employee-employer's contract. You need to have that because why? It says here to verify the number of full-time employees. Having that contract would determine who's full-time or who's part-time. But Christopher, this is one of the most common questions that I've been hearing. How would we know if our employees is full-time or part-time? Are there any regulations from the Department of Labor, for Federal Labor Standards Act, the IRS code? I'm just gonna give you what we have learned, okay? The full-time employee, the nature of being full-time is being determined by the employer, not the Department of Labor, not the IRS. They are only giving you guidelines, but on the contract, you need to specify whether your employee is full-time or part-time, maybe working up to 40 hours. There's no specific guideline. There's no specific hour, like 40 hours. No, 32 hours could also be a full-time employee. There's no guideline on the IRS and the Department of Labor in terms of the number of hours for them to be considered full-time. It's up to the employer. Okay, what paperwork do I need to have for my loan to be forgiven? Just follow like what I have mentioned a while ago. There's a rule, 75%, 25% rule. 75% is what? This is for wages. What are the following wages? Like what we said a while ago, this is payroll documentation, including wages, taxes, tips, commissions, even healthcare premiums paid, sick family leave payments that qualify under the Paycheck Protection Program. All the definitions of this on the CARES Act bill, they are all have a basis on what has been fully established on the IRS guideline, on the Department of Labor, on the Federal Labor Standards Act. All of those definition when they say what is payroll, what is employee, what is independent contractor, they are all guided by those laws, okay? Because the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Security Act is a by-end product of all the existing laws on the IRS, with the Federal Labor, with the DOLE and FLSA. Together with the payroll tax filings it made. The payroll tax filings were referring to the 941 report. This is the quarterly. You can do it by yourself online through EFTPS, and also unemployment insurance filings, if any. This could verify if employees came back. What's the remaining? The other one, in addition, the full-time employee headcount and employers cannot cut the salaries or wages. Employers who laid off workers between February 15 and April 26 have until June 30 to restaff. This is where the issue is coming from. Because how much, if I have 10 employees last year, how much should I go down? If I only have 5, would I be qualified? Last year, I've been paying $100,000 for my employees, but now I only paying $70,000 that my expenses. Juan, what is the actual guidelines for this?
So the guidelines for the PPP, if you want it to be forgiven, of course, you cannot reduce the salaries or the wage, and you cannot go from let's say you cut employees. Why? Because the reason for the PPP is to keep on paying your employees for them not to go to unemployment. That is the bottom line. What the SBA wants for you to keep on paying your employees. So if you lose count of full-time employees, that's when the SBA is gonna tell you that your forgiveness is going to be decreased. As of today, they have not given the guidelines or a percentage or a number of how much your forgiveness is going to decrease. But according to the SBA, if you reduce the number of full time employees, that's when your forgiveness amount will be decreased.
Okay, yeah, they're still going back to their drawing board. Okay, we have guys, we have to identify how much is less. How is it from having 10 employees right now, I cut it by 40%, or I cut it, can I still be forgiven? So those are all the open-ended questions that they're trying to review and trying to make sure that they we would be able to be forgiven regardless. There should be a parameter. So hopefully this week. So it's based on the number of employees, and also it's based on the number the salary or wages that they have been giving, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the what paperwork do I need to have my loan for to be forgiven? The other expenses, which is 25%. Okay, your total loan amount could 25% and less can be used for documentation. They need the documents of rent, mortgage, and utility bill payments due. It could be a paper receipt from your landlord. It could be from your online banking on an ACH debit bank account that would be accepted also, because on our company, we are monthly ACH payment. So that is another proof. And we are receiving payment of the bills like a receipt every month. Those are uh, documents that you need to secure. The check ledgers and or canceled checks to verify the payment was made. And most especially, we have the Paycheck Protection Program Loans Forgiveness Application Form. This can be found on the SBA website. You just type PPP. It's 11 pages. Okay? So it's 11 pages that you can download on the SBA website and fill it out. What does it has? The one of the common questions I have heard on all the webinars, are payments to independent contractors included in payroll cost? Just a reminder that payroll costs do not include payments to independent contractors. But Christopher, what is the difference of an employee versus an independent contractor? Always remember the 3 T's. Please write it down if you have this kind of scenario where you don't know whether it's an employee or independent contractor. There are IRS guidelines. They call it the 3 T's. What are the 3 T's? The time, the tools, and training, which means any of those, either you control the time of the employee, either you control the tools, you're giving the tools to the employee, you're giving him the training, that employee might fall as your employee and not as independent contractor, regardless of how many hours you gave to him. Because it's a common misconception. Our client from McAllen came to our office as a restaurant owner, and he said, I have an employee, but I'm paying him 1099. That is not correct. Because when you say employee, you should not be paying him 1099. That's why when you pay him 1099, that disqualify you from including this as a payroll cost. Okay? It's only one way or the other. When you are an independent contractor, you should not provide, you as an employer do not provide any tools to the person. You're not providing any training. You're not providing any time. He will come on his own pace. That is one of the factors that you need to look at. That's why independent contractor versus employee, go to the irs.gov website. They have a classification, because if they fall as independent contractor, whatever you pay for to them will not include on your payroll cost. Okay? It doesn't matter whether it's part-time, it doesn't matter where it's full-time. Okay? You are the one going to tell based on the behavioral relationship you have. For independent contractors, just a reminder, always make sure they have W-9. For employees, they need to have W-4 before they even start working for you. Then what information does the PPP forgiveness form has? When you will download this 11 pages, on this right lower, it says Paycheck Protection Program Loan Forgiveness Application. There are 4 different components. Number 1 is the PPP Loan Forgiveness Calculation Form. The second part with the PPP Schedule A. The third is the PPP Schedule A worksheet. What does it has, Juan, on the Schedule A?
The Schedule A, what it's going to show you, it's pretty much the breakdown of all of the expenses that you have incurred
Mm-hmm.
during this forgiveness period. And it's going to be a breakdown of either it's going to be qualifying as the 75% or the other business expenses, the other 25%. That is what the Schedule A is going to consist of.
Okay. And then the number 4, this is only optional, is the PPP Borrower Demographic Information Form. On the very first page of this sheet, you will see everything about the PPP. Your name, your business address, your tax ID number, or if you use your social security number or EIN, primary contact and email address. All borrowers must submit 1 and 2 to their lender. This is 11 pages. We were able to fill out some on our clients. We're already preparing their books and their payroll reports. Because June 30, we're already June next week. Okay, when will I find out if my loan was forgiven? The lender will make decision within 60 days. The loan forgiveness request will likely begin after June 30 of the application due date. Juan, you mentioned before that they don't need to wait until June 30. How does that work?
So there are some companies that receive the funds from the very beginning, from the first wave. That first wave period, their 8 weeks is already up. There should already be a portal with their bank lenders so they can turn in this application as well as any other reports that are needed, just to have evidence that all of the expenses were incurred for business related. Also, a company is also, they should start getting all of these documents and reports filled out before the 8 weeks, so they have everything ready. Once the 8 weeks is up, every company has 30 days to submit all of these reports to the lender. And then once they are all received, then that's when the lender will make the decisions within 90 days after all the reports are submitted successfully.
All the reports can be sent through email or there's an online account.
It depends on each lender. Wherever the company got the funds from, each bank is different. But on behalf of the one that we have used, it's actually the Texas National Bank. They actually have a portal online where all of these applications and reports can be uploaded and be submitted.
All right, there you go. So the earlier, the sooner, the better. We already give you bullets on the documents like those lease agreement contracts. Please secure them as early as now. If you don't have it, please get and talk to your lender. Okay. Now, if my loan was not forgiven, how long do I have to pay it back? If all payments are deferred for 6 months and the loan will be due in full within 2 years, the interest rate is fixed at 1%. When did we get approved for our PPP?
Us, we got approved on April the 30th.
April. So we have until what? Our payment will start, if it's not deferred, it will start paying November?
Yes, November 1st.
November 1st. Okay, June. All right. So those are the guidelines. If you're not been granted the forgiveness, then you need to start paying after 6 months it was approved. But like what I've said, there are so many, the local Economic Development Corporation of every cities, they have this COVID-19 program as well. But please make sure that you work with your documents to make sure, because you don't want to add that as a liability. This is our latest news according to the resources of sba.gov. Latest news as of May 22, 2020. Two new interim final rules issued late Friday build upon the loan forgiveness application and instruction released May 15, but they don't make changes to either the 8-week period during which PPP funds must be spent to qualify for forgiveness or the rule requiring PPP borrowers to spend at least 75% of the funds on payroll costs to qualify for full loan forgiveness. These are still the ongoing two issues that are the focus of the multiple bills being considered in the Congress. See reference or resources below. We will give you an update every week. Just follow us. We will be giving up to date or date any news about this for as of May 22. Okay, this is where it gets more complicated. If you are an LLC, partnership, or S corporation, there is a different way of calculating the payroll cost. And that will be discussed in a one-on-one basis. If your company or business entity falls either LLC, partnership, or S corp, please contact us. All you have to do is subscribe on your YouTube channel, WYCOTAX, this, and then download our relief summary all the way here. When you go to our website, WYCOTAX, you would see here the application. If you have questions if you're LLC, you have partner or S corp, just click this box and we will call you today. Okay, so this is a one-on-one. We will provide you guidance. You don't need to hire us, but we can give you tips or guidance on application and computation. Okay, so just that is the summary of all the PPP, the frequently asked questions. Just a short background about the company. WYCOTAX is an all-year-round, all-in-one outsourced and local tax payroll bookkeeping service solution. We have more than 20 years of combined experience. Our current offices are in Brownsville and Harlingen. We stand by its name. The company is WYCOTAX. Well, it comes from a last name. We are a worry-free, year-round, competitive, on-time tax payroll bookkeeping service solution. We have QuickBooks Expert, and we resolved more than $321,000 as of 2018 for any tax and payroll audits from the state and also to the IRS. We cater more on business accounts. And these are some publications that we have. If you want to check our credibility and integrity, feel free to check us on Google. And these are some of the achievements and publications we have. And we are proud to say and very humbled enough that we have the highest online positive reviews in the Valley, 707 for financial services. These are some of our success stories. We don't only cater English-speaking community, but we are more for Spanish. 93% or almost 99% of our clients are Hispanic. So we hablamos español, okay? We also support businesses. All right, so that would be all for our presentation for today. Like the past webinar and this webinar, you could watch us on YouTube for a replay. Pre-PDF download, go to our website. And tomorrow, Guide to Reopening Your Business, it's only 15-minute presentation. I will be joined by the San Benito Executive Director. Wednesday webinar next week, June 3, 10 a.m. English, 11 a.m. Spanish. Okay, so this is our YouTube, our website. You can have this PDF copy by downloading. Thank you for watching. Now, our white coffee break. We will now go to our question and answer. Okay, questions. Do we have? We will check first the Facebook Live. Okay. So we have a chat. Let's see, chat 5. Okay, I think it has been answered already by Juan. So one of the questions, 8 weeks from loan disbursement. Our disbursement was April 20, so 8 weeks is 622, but our last payroll is paid out of 626. Juan, what's the answer here? Can you, for everybody to know? So the answer is
the 8-week period can begin on the first day that the loan funds are dispersed, or they can begin on the first day of the pay period following the date of when the funds are dispersed. So if the funds are dispersed on 4/20 and you have a pay date on that day, You can begin the 8 weeks on the first day of the next pay period, which would be like 4/23. That's when the first day can also begin. So there's an alternative that the SBA will allow you to choose which day to start the 8 week period. Whichever one suits your company the best, that's the one that you should always be encouraged to take. And it's
Okay.
better also to include all of the pay periods as much as possible. So you would begin on the very first day of the first pay period.
Yes, because June 30, that is deadline of another 941 reports would be July 1. So July, right? The
Mhm.
941 need to be included as well.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so we don't have more questions. I'm not sure if we have questions on YouTube. If if there are some questions on YouTube, we will get back to them on our live chat. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate the participants and people that joined us. If you have more questions, you know where to reach us on our YouTube and Facebook page. Okay, so stay safe and hope the best on reopening the business on June 1.